Hi, and welcome to the introduction to the FAQ project. In this project, what we're going to do is we're going to build a frequently asked questions page from the beginning. We're going to build a system to store and retrieve frequently asked questions. So it's sort of like a blog, but it's going to be frequently asked questions instead of a blog and comment type of relationship. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start from the very beginning with starting off at GitHub on the Web and Information Systems um, Git organization. And I'm going to make a new repository here. And that's going to be called FAQ. And then with FAQ, I'm going to initialize it with a README, put a git ignore in for Laravel because we're going to be using Laravel. We're going to add a license here, which is going to be MIT, which means it's free to use. And if you want to know more about the MIT license, it just says it's free to use for commercial and nonprofit purposes. So we just give this code away. And we're going to create the repository. And now I have my repository set up with a git ignore and a license and a readme. It's just a quick way to get those files. And what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to come over to PHPstorm. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start a new project. So I'm going to go up to Tools, VCS, check out from version control, go to Git. I'm going to put this in here. And I already have an FAQ project here because I was working on another one. And I'm just going to call it FAQ2, but you shouldn't have an FAQ, so you can just clone it into your own, or clone it into FAQ. It won't make any difference. And so I'd like to open up the directory. I would like a new window because I'm going to be going back and forth between this project here, which has the code, and the one that we're going to be working on step by step. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we need to install Laravel. So I've already set up Laravel and everything, and that's a totally different video. But if you want to, as we go through here, I'm just going to show you what we're installing. So, because I'm going to use this video for for a variety of different purposes. This is Laravel, and as we go through and do things, we're going to kind of go bouncing between this site and what we're doing, so you can get a little preview. And so what I'm going to do here is come back to PHPstorm and go into this project, and then what I'm going to have to do is go View, Tools, Terminal, and we're going to do Laravel new. And to install Laravel, you have to, there's instructions to do that, which we've gone over before, so I'm not going to cover that in this video. I'm actually going to update how Laravel gets installed next time, so I think that we can use Windows or Mac, not using VirtualBox. We're going to use a thing called Docker, but I'm going to be learning that. So while this is installing, I'll just show you what Docker is. random tour here. Docker. It's basically a way, you have to watch a video to really understand it, but just think of it about, imagine if you had virtual machines, but they were one virtual machine per program, like a virtual machine for your SQL server, one for your um, database server, or whatever configuration of server that you want, and then it completely configures the server, what they call containers. They're not virtual machines. And through code. So like, what is Docker? We go here and let's see if they'll show you a quick Docker file here. Let's see, Docker file example. But like each one of these programs, like, so if you want to have Node, then this is like a scripted installation of Ubuntu in a micro instance that runs, and you can string these together so that basically you can code your program and have a file in your program's GitHub or in your project, and then that'll actually configure the Docker containers and all the servers and things like that. It's pretty neat. It's like next generation of virtual machines in some ways. So we should be done with the installation. So let's go check. All right, so it looks like we have this set up. Now that we have this, the installation of Laravel, what we're going to do is here, we're just going to go up here and we're going to do a run configuration for it. And we need to go to users. And click on the artisan file and then type start. Go to launch web browser. And then we got to fix this, which is telling it what kind of interpreter we're using. In my case, I'm using 7.2. And we'll just rename it to call it Laravel. And then let's share it, single instance, apply. Okay, and let's give it a roll. Oh, my bad. I put start instead of serve. So let me just fix that real quick. My bad, sorry. And now let's run. And there we go. We got the home page for Laravel. I think, oh, this is the home page for the other Laravel project. 1 second here. So I gotta go here, and then let's shut down that Laravel, and then we're gonna come over here, and let's see if it's probably not gonna. There we go. So this is basically it was hosting. I had the other project started up, so I had to stop the other project. All right, so we're ready. We're almost ready to go. So I'm going to show you a couple tricks that I picked up, and now that the projects are going to get more advanced, we're going to do a little bit of um, extra work here, so that we're going to get the project set up a little bit better. Well, the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go into settings for the project. And what I want to do is I want to turn on and configure the PHPstorm Laravel plugin. So we're going to go to directories, build languages and frameworks. We're going to go into PHP. We're going to go to Laravel, and we're going to enable the plugin for Laravel. And click apply. And okay, but that's not all what we have to do. If you, by the way, if you don't have that in there, what you have to do is go to settings and browse repositories, and you have to search for Laravel. Laravel plugin right there. You have to search for that, and then I already have mine enabled, but it would say install. Like, see, this one's not installed. It would say install there for Laravel, and you would install it. It really does help out, and we're going to show you. You'll see a note. You'll noticeable difference if you install this plugin. It's going to have autocomplete for a lot of things, and makes using Laravel a little bit easier. So I'm going to cancel out of here, and then what I have to do here is, this is like a two-part process. I got to do Laravel PHPstorm, and then there's the Laravel IDE plugin, and I'll put this link with the project whenever I put it in Moodle. But what well, let me make sure this. I think this might be. Let's go through this way. So I go through there. And what we got to do here is and this is the one we need. I'll put this link with it. It's like not so easy to find. And they have some extra instructions here, but we're using a new version of Laravel that we don't have to do this. They want you to register it and things. We don't need to do all this. What we got to do here is come over to here, go to View, Tools, Terminal, and we're going to add this plugin. And then while it's doing its thing, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to my other project, the FAQ project here, because you'll, like I said, and I'm going to go into my composer.json. And this project's going to be posted to GitHub along with this video, so you'll be able to get all of this. But what's going to happen is I need to get this whole block. And what's going to happen is every time Composer updates, so what's going on here is that there's comments in a PHP doc format inside your program. And every time the program updates, we want to regenerate the helper files that allows autocomplete to work. So by putting this code in our composer JSON file, oops, which is going to be right here, this is going to generate our helper files. Now we're going to also do something else here in a minute. So once I have this, then undo composer, update, and then what's going to happen is that it's going to give me a couple messages that the IDE helpers have been generated. Now, along with this, we're also going to want to do for our models, but the models is a little bit weird. We can't have it automatically generate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of fanciness to this, because as we're going to be building this project, we're going to be adding functions and things, and we're going to be adding fields to our tables on the models. And so what we're going to want to be able to do is generate, see that our commands ran here, the helper generate. What we're going to want to do is generate all of, we're going to want to generate the helper functions for that allow the autocomplete to work for the custom models that we make. So we can't automatically generate all the models on update, but we can do that and we're going to run it to scan our models now. So it's going to give us, we're going to run the artisan IDE helper command. Oh wait, oh, I must have installed dball on the wrong project. All right, now let's try it. Yes, I want to overwrite the files. Oops, looks like we needed to have a connection to the database. So let's fix that. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to do clear or CLS, and let's bring this up. And in this, what I want to do is we're going to make a new file. So we're going to make our database. So we're going to use an SQLite, And you might have to install some drivers for SQLite, but we've talked about that before, so we're not going to go through that. I'm going to go in my database folder. I'm going to do new file database.sqlite. And in here, I can close this file because you can't write into it. But what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to go down to my .env and change my database connection to SQLite, and then I take this database and I move it up here, and what it wants in this is a path to the SQLite database. So what I'm going to do is copy the path here, save this file, close this file, and what we can do here is just do PHP artisan migrate refresh, and that command we've learned, but that's to basically we'll update the database tables. And so now that we have a database connection, we'd be able to update the tables, and hopefully we can now run our helper file. Oops, let's go get that code. By the way, what we just did with the Laravel database, so if we looked up Laravel Eloquent, we would be able to get in the introduction Laravel database, and this can show you how to configure it for SQLite. Now I want to come back over here and all right, so now we got our user model helpers added, and every time we make database changes, schema changes, we might want to you're probably going to want to regenerate that file so that it gives you the correct autocomplete for your models, because it asks you to overwrite this file, and not sure how to do yes or no automatically in the composer file. I just have to do this. If anybody knows how to have it automatically say yes, let me know, because it's kind of a hassle. But the thing is that it wouldn't be much good on update, because this is not this model file doesn't get updated whenever you download stuff. This model file gets updated whenever you edit things in your migration and models. So it wouldn't actually work on command update very well. But it wouldn't be bad to just stick it in here, because often you're doing that. At least you do it sometimes to regenerate this. Anyway, so now I have this set up. What I'm going to want to do is we're going to do some testing, because we have the database set up, we have all that. We should be able to do PHP artisan make :auth to generate our authentication scaffolding, and then we should be able to do PHP artisan migrate refresh here. All right, so let's go back to the site and let's do a final test, because we're going to want to regenerate this, refresh this screen, and we have a register and a login. And I found that there was sometimes a bug whenever I had to restart the Laravel server for how this to take effect. So, but we'll see what happens here. All right, so if you get this error, it's not really an error. All right, so let's refresh this, and let's try to do it one more time. All right, so let's try one other thing here. And I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna stop my Laravel. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go up to View and Tools and Database, and then I'm gonna connect to SQLite. Basically what I found is with the database file, sometimes the database file gets connected and it can't figure out that it's an SQLite database. So it's kind of like jiggling the key to get it to start up. I gotta go and get this thing to recognize that it's a database. And what I do, the way I do that is to just go to the SQLite file with PHPstorm, which we have to do anyway, and access the database here. And test the connection. It might say in here you might have to install some plugin or something to get SQLite to work the first time. All right, so now we got collections, main, migrations, SQL, password resets. All right, so let's just run this again. So SQL migrate, refresh, and let's see if this is gonna work. And let's refresh the. Okay, so this is off. I'm gonna start Laravel. Go to register. And we're in. It was really just that the problem is that SQLite database file that sometimes it doesn't, whenever you just manually make the file, it doesn't get connected right. And so it's got some problems. So I found like if I connected, sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. I'd have to get the PHP artisan all to be set up. All right, so now we have this whole thing working. So at this point, so now that I got the IDE and everything set up, I'm going to do a commit and I'm going to send this to GitHub because this is a nice starting point. So what I'm going to do here is go back to FAQ2. I'm going to go up to Tools, or sorry, VCS, and commit. And this is going to be what? I'm going to say that this is initial Laravel setup, and I'm going to add all these files here because that's all the ones that we downloaded for the project, and I'm gonna commit it. Don't worry about the warnings, just commit it. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do git push. I'm gonna push this up to GitHub. And let's go check out our GitHub repository now for FAQ. And we should have all of our files up here. And let's make a, so now that this is set up, I'm gonna shut this video down, and we're gonna start off with a new video right after this setup, so we can kind of break up this long topic into a couple sections.